We started off Phase 4 of the Multiverse Saga with WandaVision, so I will be having a Misako show be the counterpart with her dealing with the death of Lloyd like what Wanda did with Vision's death. The next show was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so its counterpart would be a show called The News Never Sleeps that focus on Falcon's counterpart, Nelson, and the Paper Boys, with the finale showing Nelson leaving to become Purple Ninja. The counterpart of Loki would be a show about Lord Garmadon called Garmadon, which would follow after crystallized, with the plot being based on the actual comics. Lord Mogra would be the main villain, but it would end with Garmadon travelling to the realm of madness. The show won't have it where the realms existed but were destroyed because of massive war, like the multiverse in the MCU. Instead, they would have always existed throughout the Spinjitzu saga, only that chaos throughout the entire universe is occurring because of some massive threat that has arisen, but we will find out soon. Up next was Black Widow, and its counterpart would have to be a film called Naya, since Naya is the counterpart to Black Widow of this Ninjago universe. This film would take place before crystallized because Naya died in the previous saga. Maya and Ray are introduced as the counterparts to Melina and Red Guardian. The main villains would be the Time Twins, and it would be revealed that Nia had the element of water. After that was What If. Season 1 and I would have the counterpart to that be Ninjago Reimagined Season 1, however it would be exploring the 16 realms with only 5 episodes about Ninjago, the Realm of Madness, the Underworld, Dijinjago, and the Realm of Oni and Dragon. Next was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and for its counterpart is Scott and the Brotherhood of Rats. The film would show Scott returning to normal society after the events of Prime Empire to only deal with whack rats as the main villains. The Eternals' counterpart would be a film called The Keepers of the Amulet, with it showing the origins of the Keepers and them joining the fight against Wajira. After Wajira is defeated, the Keepers are tasked to protect the Storm Amulet by the first Spinjitzu Master. The show Hawkeye came after, and its counterpart is a show about Zane called The Titanium Ninja. The main villain of the show would be General Cryptor, as a virus from the Overlord remains has corrupted new technology in Ninjago, with Zane trying to deal with it. Cyrus Borg and Pixel would also be introduced in this show as well. We moved to Spider-Man No Way Home, and the counterpart to it would be called Aaron Crossroads. No Way Home featured villains from the 2 other Spider-Man franchises, so I tried to configure a way to do this, but for Aaron and I found such. 2 other realms would be homes to the Lego Ninjago movie and Lego movie universes, only they aren't universes but rather realms in this saga. Villains from different realms would come to the main Ninjago realm to cause chaos. This villain roster would include Moro, Harumi, President Business, Bad Cop, Lego Ninjago movie Garmadon, and Raz. Aaron would be no match for this group, thus he gets the help of 2 Lloyd Garmadons from the Lego Ninjago movie and Lego movie realms. They would try to return each of the villains to their own realm. Master Wu would also get involved, and they managed to convince Moro to change and help the heroes like what Doc Ock did. The film would end with Aaron deciding to become his own man, with the ending showing him in his ninja suit. Next was Moon Knight, and I would have it be a Moro show called Moro. This show would take place after the events of Crossroads, with it dealing with Moro returning to the Cursed Realm. After that was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Doctor Strange's counterpart is Master Wu in the previous saga, so I would have the counterpart be called Master Wu in the First Realm. Master Wu would be confronted by a group of Oni led by Mistake. They would travel around the realms with them hunting Wu. They would arrive at the realm of Oni and Dragon, where Wu manages to convince Mistake to his side, and they manage to defend off against the other Oni. Next was a show about MS. Marvel, and the equivalent to that would be Vania. It revolves around her ruling over Shintaro until things go wrong due to dire bats attacking, as they serve as the villains of the show. After MS, Marvel was Thor Love and Thunder, and Thor's counterpart of this universe is J, so for this we would have had a 4th J movie, and it would be called J the Administration. This film would center on J meeting the administration, and it could end with J being recruited to their ranks and becoming Agent Walker. Up next was the first series of shorts about Groot called I Am Groot, and the counterpart to that would be Mr. Pale. It would deal with Mr. Pale, and it's light-hearted and humorous. After that was She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and the counterpart to that would be a show called Dareth Attorney at Law, since Dareth is an attorney like She-Hulk, and the show's name has Attorney at Law, so I focus more on the attorney part, and found Dareth to be the one who could fit that role. It's great, as we would also have the Daredevil counterpart Ronin. The show would deal with Dareth trying to help out in the legal affairs of the ninja after all the battles they went through, so I would also have Cole cameo as well in the show, as his counterpart Hulk was also in She-Hulk. Next to follow was Werewolf by Night, and the counterpart would be Day of the Departed. It would revolve around the origins of Master Yang and him becoming a ghost and turning the temple of Airjitsu haunted. Following up, that would be the final film of Phase 4, with it being the Black Panther Wakanda Forever equivalent, with that being Bethomar the Wrath of Wajira. Bethomar is the Black Panther equivalent, so in this world Bethomar's actor died and a new one replaced him as the voice of Bethomar. The main villain would be Kamlar as he manages to get the Storm and Wave amulets to resurrect Wajira. He does this by starting a war between Melopia and the Keepers. 2-2 would stop fighting as they try to stop Wajira. It ends with Bethomar sacrificing himself to defeat the monster. I killed Bethomar this way as T'Challa was killed off in the first part of Wakanda Forever to give way to his sister. However, there wouldn't be anyone else for the throne to replace Bethomar, so I decided to have him alive until his sacrifice. The final installment of Phase 4 was the Guardians Christmas special. Its counterpart would be a Christmas special featuring the Elemental Masters, which will be called the Elemental Masters Colorful Christmas. The special would have the Elemental Masters celebrating Christmas together before they get invited to the Tournament of Elements, setting up the third and final Elemental Masters movie in Phase 5. Marvel's Phase 5 was kicked off by Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and with the Ant-Man counterpart being Karloff. The counterpart to Quantumania will be the third Karloff movie called Karloff and the Bringers of Doom. The story would revolve around Karloff being confronted by the Oni as they attack Metalonia. The main villain will be the Kang counterpart, that being the Omega. Karloff would defeat the Omega and Oni in this film, which would have been insane to think about, but Scott defeated Kang, so I had to do something like that here. The next film is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and its counterpart will be the final Elemental Masters movie called Elemental Masters Volume 3. The Elemental Masters are invited to the Tournament of Elements held by Master Chen. The group start to fight amongst themselves as Chen offers them all the others' powers. At the end, the team learn that Chen actually was planning on using their elemental powers to revive the Anacondrae. Despite their efforts, the team fails to stop Chen from reviving the Anacondrae, but they manage to trap him in his own island. Afterwards, the team decide to split up, and that ends the Elemental Masters. Next was Secret Invasion, and the counterpart would be a show called Rise of the Snakes. The Serpentine tribes would come to terrorize Ninjago City after the events have crystallized, with only Scales going against the tribes. He assembles a small team of heroes in Purple Ninja Nelson, Echo Zane, Dareth, and Antonia. The show would end with the Serpentine being defeated by the group. After Secret Invasion was I Am Groot Season 2, so we would have Mr. Pale Season 2 with just shorts of Mr. Pale after the events of the third Elemental Masters film. Next was Loki Season 2, and we would have a Garmadon Season 2 as the equivalent. It would have to end the Kang equivalent storyline, like what the Loki show did, so I would have it where Lord Garmadon hunts all the Oni, including the Kang counterpart, the Omega, with his adventures ending in him being unable to return to Ninjago. After that was the sequel to Captain Marvel in the Marvels, so Skylar would get her sequel film in Skylar Amber Spiral. Amber Spiral would have Skylar come to confront her past as her father escapes his own island to terrorize Ninjago. Skylar, along with Misako and Vania, would defeat Chen, but Misako would be teleported to another realm at the end of the film, like what happened to Spectrum. What If got a Season 2, so Ninjago Reimagined would also have such, with the season expanding on the other realms explored. 5 episodes based on the Lego Movie realm, the Lego Ninjago Movie realm, the Cursed Realm, the Departed Realm, and Imperium. Afterwards was the Echo show, so I would have an Echo Zane show to be the Echo equivalent. The show would revolve around the creation of Echo Zane along his time after crystallized. Deadpool and Wolverine was a unique Phase 5 movie, with it being a continuation of a franchise outside the MCU. I came up with the counterpart, with that being the third Lego movie named the Lego Movie The Third Part. Emmett and Batman would serve as the counterparts to Deadpool and Wolverine in this universe, as they would go about trying to stop the Joker from unleashing chaos to the other realms. We would also see counterpart cameos of Blade, Gambit, Elektra, X-23, and the Human Torch with Metalbeard, Benny, Princess Unikitty, and the Chris Evans Human Torch equivalent would be Lego Movie's minor character Wally, since he is voiced by 2017 Ninjago Movie Lloyd's voice actor, Dave Franco. Next installment to Phase 5 is Agatha All Along, and it would be a show about Gandalaria, as she does witchcraft like Agatha, which is why this is here. After that is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and its counterpart being self-trained Wannable Ninja Aaron. The show would be based on telling what happened to Aaron in the gaps between films like Between the Gap of Legacy of the Green Ninja and Crossroads. Eyes of Wakanda's counterpart would be Kingdom of Melopia, where we would learn the history of the kingdom and the endless sea. After that will be Captain America Brave New World, and I am choosing to do something entirely different and have it be about Lego Ninjago movie Lloyd rather than a new Green Ninja. The film would be called The Green Ninja Green Destiny, and it would take place after the events of the Lego Ninjago movie where Lloyd tries to connect with his father. The main villains are the generals fired by Garmadon would came to seek revenge against the two. The story would lead to a total fallout between father and son that causes Lego Ninjago movie Garmadon to unleash his Oni powers and nearly kill Lloyd. Daredevil Born Again would have its counterpart be a show about Ronin, where we see Ronin's origins, his crimes, and an introduction to the village of Styx. The Thunderbolts' counterpart will be a movie about the Council of the Crystal King. It might be weird that the very council that worked for the Dark Lord would be the Thunderbolts' equivalent, rather than the new ninja or those bizarro ninja. However, the Thunderbolts are supposed to be a group of villains rather than just the ninja but evil. So this film would have the council try to find a way to rule Ninjago only to have them reform by the end. The entire council, excluding Mr. F, would appear as Mr. F had been destroyed in the Endgame equivalent. Marvel Zombies will have a counterpart in a show called Possession, where we would explore the ghosts throughout the Cursed Realm. For the final installment of Phase 5 we are going to discuss about is the equivalent to Ironheart, and I choose to for a film about Wildfire to fill that role, since Wildfire is related to Kai, who is the Iron Man counterpart of this universe, and Iron is related to Stark, so I had Wildfire have her own film here.
Will be What If Season 3, which means there would be a Season 3 to Ninjago reimagined, with it dealing with the few remaining realms yet to be revealed like Mysterium Neverrealm, Realm of Lee, Cloud Kingdom and Wildness. The next project to deal with is the confirmed Untitled Vision Series 1. Was thinking of having that be just a Season 2 for Misako, with her being stuck in a different realm, but I decided not to do that since that will be dealt with in the Doomsday equivalent. I decided the Vision Series equivalent would be a show about someone connected to her being Clutch Powers. It would show Powers' adventures and rise to fame. After that will be the Nova Project, and I am having a show about Akita be the equivalent, since I think we should dive deep into the Never realm, and I think this is a good idea to do so. The show would have Akita mastering her formling powers with Vex as the main villain. The Wonder Man show is coming, and I would have a show about Geo be the equivalent, with the two characters being similar in strength. We will end this part 1 with what I had in mind for the cancelled Kang storyline that would have led to Avengers the Kang Dynasty. You see, I would have the Oni be the main villains of that, with the Kang the Conqueror equivalent being the Omega. The Kang Dynasty's equivalent would have been Ninjago March of the Oni, where we would see our heroes lose to the Oni and cause the destruction of nearly all the realms except the first realm, with the Secret Wars counterpart being called Ninjago the War of Oni and Dragon, with our heroes defeating the Oni to return everything back to normal. However, in this universe, Lego cancelled that whole story for something else with a new villain in Doctor Doom. I will discuss the other confirmed projects and the equivalents of Doomsday and Secret Wars in Part 2, the equivalent to the Untitled Okoye series, with its equivalent being a show about Glutinous, because he is related to Merlopia, which is basically the Wakanda of this universe, so he would have his own show. Meanwhile, we will be confirmed to get Shang-Chi 2, which will be Scott 2. I don't know what the film's plot is going to be, but its equivalent is Scott 2. Also, a film we don't know much about is Spider-Man 4, which means the equivalent will be Aaron 4. We are still waiting for details on Spider-Man 4, with hopefully it coming soon. Fantastic Four First Steps equivalent would likely introduce new big bad being Doom in 2025, so I am going to reveal the new big bad of this realm Saga, with the First Steps equivalent being a Sora film. The film would introduce Sora and her having tech powers which she still can't control fully, along with the introduction of Doom's counterpart in Empress Beatrix. The film would end in Beatrix still ruling Imperium and Sora being ostracized by her own society. The two will meet again in the two big Ninjago movies coming up later. Next is Blade, and the equivalent to that film would be Faith starring Faith, since they are both hunters and Faith has a connection to the Doctor Strange counterpart being Master Wu. The film would show her with the Dragon Hunters only to rebel against Iron Baron in the story like what she did in Hunted. We will finally end off part 2 with the counterparts to Doomsday and Secret Wars, with the Doomsday equivalent being called Ninjago Imperium. Since Doomsday is referring to Doom, I had to have the equivalent refer to Beatrix, who is the Doom counterpart in this universe. The movie would focus on the merge occurring throughout the story, and we would see different perspectives of it from everyone in the realms. We don't know what caused the merge in the show other than that WU is the reason, so I would have it where the merge in this movie is caused by WU traveling to the realms in his sequel that is causing it. Everyone in this entire saga would try to stop the merge only to fail, and all the 16 realms are merged at the end. The merge is a great opportunity to change some things up for the Secret Wars equivalents, so for this I would have Wu Garmadon, anyone from Prime Empire, Moro Harumi, the two cinematic Lloyds, and a bunch of O. We will finally arrive to the final project of this video being Avengers Secret Wars, and the counterpart would be called Ninjago Dragons Rising. The film's plot would be based on the first season of Dragons Rising, as the main villain would be Imperium, especially Empress Beatrix. There would be a time gap after the merge in that Empress Beatrix took over all of the merged lands and captured a source dragon. Along obtaining the dragon cores, she created a mech with the dragon cores like what she did in the show. In case of any uprising against her, a roster of heroes are left to defeat her and free everyone from her rule. They split up into 3 teams, with one confronting Beatrix, another freeing the source dragon, and a third led by Sora to turn the people of Imperium against her. The team confronting Beatrix would be no match with her being in the mech with the dragon cores and her army with many heroes being killed. Sora's team would do the same thing of showing bad footage of Beatrix to Imperium's population, and that turns them against her. Like in the show, Sora's team would come to aid in battling Beatrix and her army, which tips the scales a bit more in the heroes' favor, but not enough. The scales would finally flip to the side of a group of our heroes free the source dragon as they join the fight along the source dragon. Empress Beatrix would finally be defeated as Sora would unlock her tech powers in a similar way in the show and uses them to destroy the Empress weapon with the dragon cores. The merged lands are liberated from Beatrix's reign and Imperium becomes a republic. This ends up the Realm Saga, but it could also be a good jumping off point for the next saga to focus on a new set of characters or continue with established ones like Wildfire, Sora, and Aaron. After I removed many characters in Ninjago Imperium, it would be smart if we focus on those who remained after the merge. The next saga could also reintroduce the original ninja, as we could have any change we want after the merge event in the last movie. This ends my series on creating a cinematic Ninjago universe based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with this part 2 creating Phase 6 being the last video, unless I want to do something like this in the future. Thank you and bye.